Welcome back to another episode of Club Stories, right here on Sportx Radar. Today, we're diving deep into a true giant of the game. A club so dominant, so successful, they're practically an institution. But what if I told you this massive symbol of the establishment was actually born from an act of pure rebellion? Well, buckle up. This is the incredible story of FC Bayern Munich.
So how does that even happen? How does a team with such defiant roots grow into the global superpower we see today? You see, the story of Bayern Munich isn't one of inherited greatness or easy paths. Nope. It's a story forged in rebellion, a story of survival against unimaginable odds, and a story about an unbreakable belief in their own destiny. Let's break down how it all went down.
We're going to track their journey through 6 key chapters. We'll start with their rebel birth, then move to their fight for survival and rebirth. After that, we'll hit the Golden Dynasty, unpack the business of dominance, see how they became Europe's modern kings, and finally, we'll decode the very DNA of this footballing giant.
All right, first up, a rebel's birth. And let me tell you, this isn't just some dusty old founding story. This was a statement, an act of defiance that literally changed everything that came after.
So you gotta picture it. It's Munich, the late 1890s. Football is this new kind of rowdy sport that the old school gymnastics clubs are really looking down on. So when their parent club, MTV 1879, told its football players they couldn't join the German Football Association, 11 of them basically said, "Nope, we're done." They walked out, marched straight to a pub, and right then and there created FC Bayern. Just like that.
And that right there is the key. From the second it was created, Bayern's entire purpose was to be about one thing and one thing only: football. Free from the rules and traditions of the old guard. Led by their first president, Franz John, this wasn't just starting a team, it was a declaration of independence for the beautiful game in the city of Munich.
But that early spark of rebellion was almost extinguished by one of the darkest times in human history. This next chapter is all about how Bayern was nearly wiped off the map and how it clawed its way back from total oblivion.
You see, before 1933, Bayern was on the up and up. It had this reputation as a progressive, open-minded club. In fact, it was often called the Jewish club because of its hugely influential Jewish president, Kurt Landauer, and its coach. But when the Nazis seized power, everything changed overnight. Landauer and the coach had to flee for their lives, Jewish members were kicked out, and the club was basically blacklisted, pushed into the shadows for years.
By the end of the war, the club was just shattered. The leadership at the time said it perfectly. We had to start again from zero. They weren't just rebuilding a team, they were trying to recover the very soul of their club.
But you know what they say, from the ashes, a phoenix will rise. And in the 1970s, Bayern didn't just rise, it soared. This was the decade they didn't just get back on the map, they redrew the entire map of European football and put Munich right in the center.
And the backbone of this dynasty? Oh, it was a thing of beauty, a legendary axis. In goal, you had the incredible Sepp Maier, they called him the Cat. Commanding the defense was the most elegant player you've ever seen, the one and only Franz Beckenbauer, the Kaiser. And up top, the most lethal goal-scoring machine imaginable, Gerd Müller, der Bomber. This wasn't just a team, it was an unstoppable force.
And what did that force of nature achieve? Get this, three European Cups in a row. From 1974 to 1976, nobody in Europe could touch them. It was a run that cemented their place as football royalty and built the foundation for the absolute powerhouse they are today.
But winning on the pitch was only part of the master plan. The club's leadership, especially a guy named Uli Hoeneß, knew that to keep winning, you had to dominate off the pitch too. This is the story of how they built a financial empire.
I mean, just take a look at this. This chart says it all, doesn't it? The difference in revenue between Bayern and their closest German rivals like Dortmund or Leipzig, well, it isn't a gap, it's a canyon. This kind of financial firepower means they're literally playing a different game than everyone else in the league.
And that, of course, leads us to the biggest criticism you always hear about Bayern: their strategy of simply buying the best players from their direct rivals. Think about it. Götze, Lewandowski, Hummels, all plucked from Dortmund at their peak. So what's the verdict? Is it just smart, ruthless business, or do they kind of break the Bundesliga by doing it? I really want to know what you guys think. Drop a comment below.
All that money then fueled a whole new level of dominance here in the 21st century. This is the era of the modern kings, an era defined by those massive Champions League nights and the fiery rivalry they call Der Klassiker.
Right, speaking of the rivalry,
If there are any Dortmund fans watching, you might want to look away now, because this table of trophies won since 2010 is just brutal. I mean, look, Dortmund has had some brilliant moments, for sure, but the sheer volume of silverware on Bayern's side is it's staggering. It paints a pretty clear picture of who's been the boss in Germany for a long time.
And they didn't just dominate at home. They took that power and conquered Europe, winning 2 historic trebles. The first came in 2013, capped off by that epic all-German Champions League final against Dortmund at Wembley. And then they did it again in 2020, destroying everyone in their path during that weird lockdown tournament in Lisbon. 2 trebles in just 7 years. That's just insane.
Okay, so we've covered the history, the trophies, the money, but what really makes Bayern, well, Bayern? We're about to decode the DNA of this giant, looking at its symbols, its colors, and most importantly, its one-of-a-kind mindset.
Even their colors tell a story. You know the famous red and white home kits? Those actually represent the colors of Franconia, which is a historic region inside of Bavaria. But the blue and white diamonds in the middle of their badge, that's pure Bavaria. It comes straight from the state flag. So they're repping both their local region and the entire state at the same time.
And you can actually trace how they built that identity just by looking at how their crest changed over the years. It started out as this really simple monogram. Then they added that iconic red ring. But the game changer was when they put those blue and white Bavarian diamonds right in the middle, locking in who they were. From there, it just got polished into the clean, powerful logo that everyone on the planet recognizes today.
But look, more than any logo, more than any color, the absolute core of Bayern's DNA comes down to 3 little words: Mia san mia. Now literally, it translates to "we are who we are." But oh man, it means so much more than that. It's a whole philosophy. It's this deep, supreme self-confidence, this absolute conviction that you are going to win no matter what. It's the invisible force that pushes them to score in the 90th minute, and it unites everyone from the star player to the fan in the stands in one single goal: victory.
Mia san mia. It's more than a motto. It's a promise, it's a warning, and it's the perfect summary of what it means to be Bayern Munich.
And that brings us to the big question, the one I want to leave you with. After seeing this whole story, the rebellion, the survival, the utter dominance, is what Bayern has achieved something we should all admire? Is it a testament to their greatness? Or is it actually a sign that something is kind of broken in the system of modern football?
Get in the comments and let me know your take on that. If you had a good time with this deep dive, do us a huge favor and hit that like button, subscribe to Sportx Radar, and make sure you ring that bell so you don't miss our next club story. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you for the next one.